Miranda Priestly is a ruthless sociopath.
Oh, sorry, Miranda. I actually did confirm last
Details of
night.
your incompetence do not interest me.
She is a cold and calculating cinematic monster.
That's all. That's all. That's all.
Or at least that is what society wants you to believe. Introduced in the 2006 cult classic The Devil Wears Prada, Miranda, played by Meryl Streep, is the formidable editor-in-chief of Runway magazine. She is the undisputed queen of the fashion industry, a woman whose slightest nod can make a career and whose silence can end one. When the film was released, it was received as a cautionary tale about the boss from hell. For 20 years, we completely misunderstood her legacy. We dismissed her as a toxic and abusive girl boss. We think she tortures her staff for absolute fun. But her cruelty is not a massive personality flaw. Her ruthless behavior is actually a mandatory survival tactic. She simply gave the corporate machine exactly what it demanded. So what if she is a high-functioning psychopath? She gets things done, and she is highly respected. Watching her wield that power is incredibly intoxicating. And admit it, you secretly want to be Miranda Priestly. You want the massive corner office and the killer style. You want the big salary. Today we are opening her toxic playbook and show you the exact price of her crown. Let us see if you have the stomach to survive. To understand Miranda, you have to understand the high-stakes world she built. Runway isn't just a magazine, it's a billion-dollar global authority where million girls would kill for a job.
Million girls would kill for this job.
A million girls would kill for that job.
The story follows Andy Sachs,
Human resources certainly has an odd sense of humor.
a smart, aspiring journalist who looks down on fashion and thinks she is above the vanity of the industry. Andy enters this world as Miranda's junior assistant, expecting a simple stepping stone. Instead, she finds herself in a corporate war zone where perfection is the only acceptable starting point. Everyone remembers the famous blue sweater scene.
They're so different.
Miranda completely destroys Andy over a simple blue belt.
You're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room. From a pile of stuff.
This scene makes people think she is just mean. But the truth is much deeper than that. She acts this way because of a systemic reality called the prove it again bias. Research by Joan C. Williams shows that women are often judged on their past mistakes, while men are judged on their future potential. In business, men are assumed competent by default. People just assume a man knows what he is doing. But women have to relentlessly prove their value every single day. For women, competence is never a permanent state. It must be re-earned every single day. Miranda cannot afford a single moment of visible weakness because the system is waiting for her to slip. So she built her armor out of pure, indisputable knowledge. She never stops reviewing, editing, and obsessing over the data. But this terrifying expertise requires a massive personal sacrifice. You must permanently sacrifice the concept of 8 hours of sleep. You spend your exhausted weekends taking advanced executive courses. Your dream of having actual hobbies is officially dead. You cancel your hard-earned vacation to fix a quarterly spreadsheet. You're perpetually, clinically, and undeniably tired. Women must sacrifice their actual sanity just to be trusted. This weaponized competence is her only real protection. But if flawless work is her armor, why does she use it as a weapon to demand the impossible?
We have all the published Harry Potter books. Twins want to know what happens next.
You want the unpublished manuscript?
Well, the book better be here no later than 3.
Of course.
And I would like my steak here in 15 minutes.
Because at the top, the results justify the ruthlessness.
You know, my dad's coming in from Ohio. Yeah, we're gonna go out to dinner and maybe see Chicago.
This is best seen during the infamous Miami hurricane scene. Miranda is stranded by a massive storm and demands that Andy somehow find a private flight home, despite every plane being legally grounded.
My flight has been canceled. It's some absurd weather problem.
Andy scrambles in a blind panic trying to charter a jet. She completely ignores her own father visiting from out of town. She ruins a rare family dinner just to appease her boss.
What does she want you to do? Call the National Guard and have her airlifted out of there?
Of course not. Could I do that?
When Andy fails, Miranda coldly replies that the details of Andy's incompetence do not interest her.
That's all.
Miranda completely ignores the reality of a massive natural disaster. This isn't just a bad boss moment, it is a psychological process called moral decoupling. Research by Bhattacharjee and Reed explains how we allow geniuses to be monsters because we separate their professional performance from their moral character. Miranda has decoupled the storm from the task. To her, the hurricane is a footnote. The magazine is the only reality. The data shows that high performers are 40% more likely to be forgiven for toxic behavior if their output is considered irreplaceable. Miranda knows she is irreplaceable, so she operates outside the lines of human decency. If the system forgives you for being a monster as long as you're a genius, what happens when you start bringing that monster home? As Andy climbs closer to Miranda's inner circle, her personal life begins to disintegrate.
Look, you better just start without me, okay? I'll get there as soon as I can.
Come on, it's his birthday.
Look at the night of Nate's birthday, Andy's long-term boyfriend. She is stuck at a late-night work event, holding a single cupcake in a dark, empty apartment, while Nate tells her they're over. Nate isn't just annoyed, he is officially done because Andy has become a stranger. This is the brutal reality of the ideal worker norm. Sociologist Joan Acker describes the ideal worker as someone with no life, no body, and no needs. Someone with 100% availability. Even in 2026, 70% of high-level roles are still structured around this model, which assumes the worker has no domestic ties. This is where the corporate machine performs its most quiet surgery. It doesn't ask you to quit your life all at once. It just asks for one missed birthday, then one missed anniversary, then one canceled dinner with your parents. You tell yourself it's just for this season, or until the project is done. But the corporate season never actually ends. You aren't just busy, you are becoming unavailable to the people who love you. Andy isn't being selfish. She is trying to fit into a mold that was never designed for a person with a partner waiting at home. You become a ghost in your own home before you ever become a titan in the office. When you've already sacrificed your presence at home to satisfy the machine, what's one more betrayal in the boardroom to protect what's left? This is the moment Andy stops being a victim and starts becoming a predator. Miranda's first assistant, Emily, has lived her entire life for one goal: going to Paris Fashion Week.
I get to go with her to Paris for Fashion Week in the fall. I get to wear couture, I go to all the shows and all the parties, I meet all of the designers, it's divine.
For Emily, going to Paris Fashion Week isn't just a work trip, it is the singular justification for her existence. She has spent months in a state of self-imposed torture to get there. She's on a starvation diet, where she eats nothing at all, and when she feels like she's about to faint, she eats a cube of cheese.
Well, it's definitely working.
She is physically and mentally depleted, running on nothing but the desperate hope of finally standing at the center of the fashion world. But Miranda sees that Andy is becoming more useful. She gives Andy a choice: tell Emily she's being replaced, or lose her career.
Miranda, I can't.
If you don't go, I'll assume you're not serious about your future.
Andy doesn't just deliver the news, she chooses the promotion. She makes a conscious decision to step over a colleague's broken dream to secure her own ascent. This is the psychological threshold of integrity erosion. In high-pressure environments, the ends begin to justify the betrayals. You convince yourself you had no choice, but in reality, you are choosing your ambition over your empathy. Andy justifies it as professional necessity, but she has officially traded her integrity for a seat on the plane to Paris. She is no longer just working for a monster, she is learning how to be one. If you're willing to crush your teammate for a trip to Paris, what are you willing to do to stay there? When your career is all you have left, you will do anything to keep it. This reaches a breaking point in Paris when Miranda discovers a boardroom coup designed to replace her with a younger editor. To save her own job in Paris, Miranda sacrifices her closest ally and most loyal friend, Nigel. She publicly hands Nigel's dream job to her biggest rival. She completely blindsides the one person who actually supports her. She does not do this because she enjoys being cruel. She does this purely for self-preservation. When they come for your crown, you must be willing to draw blood. This brutal survival tactic requires the ultimate emotional sacrifice. You must be willing to push your best friend directly over the ledge. Research from the University of Amsterdam calls this systemic scarcity. This behavior is a survival response to a biased environment where there is only one seat for a woman at the top. Miranda didn't betray Nigel just because she's a backstabber. She did it because the system created a Hunger Games environment where only one of them could survive the boardroom coup. She chooses herself because she knows there is no number 2 spot for a woman. She officially won the war, but was the prize ever meant to be shared? You followed the playbook to the letter, and now you have to look at your prize. The Paris hotel room scene exposes the absolute final truth. Miranda sits alone in a bathrobe, crying over her 3rd impending divorce. This is the ultimate invoice, and it is backed by the promotion-divorce gap. A study in the American Economic Journal found that women promoted to top CEO positions are twice as likely to get divorced within 3 years. For men, a similar promotion has 0 impact on their marriage stability. This happens because a male executive usually has a partner managing his home. A female executive is still expected to flawlessly manage both spheres. The corporate machine expects her to lead like she has no family, and society expects her to parent like she has no job. While a man's climb often strengthens his domestic support system, a woman's climb actively threatens it. This impossible double standard completely obliterates any concept of work-life balance. When the cost of the crown becomes this high, women simply stop playing the game. The recent workforce exit data confirms this exact breaking point. 42% of women voluntarily leaving corporate America, citing this exact reason. They are fleeing a system that requires you to literally marry your job. Miranda laments her failing marriage for exactly 10 seconds before snapping back into her cold persona. The corporate machine simply does not allow her to bleed. Is being the best in the world worth being the most alone in the world? This brings us back to that final haunting car scene in Paris. Miranda looks at Andy and says,
I see a great deal of myself in you.
In that moment, Andy sees her own future reflected in Miranda's cold eyes. She realizes she has already started sacrificing her friends and her integrity. She sees the invisible invoice for the life she thought she wanted. So, Andy makes a choice. She throws her phone into the fountain and walks away. For years, we've been told these are the only 2 options. You can be Miranda, the powerful, isolated monster who sacrificed everything. Or you can be Andy, the talented woman who had to quit to stay human. But is that really the only way this story ends? Most people believe they could never be Miranda because they lack her raw talent. This brings us to the ultimate heavy truth. Why the average executive could never be Miranda Priestly. We tell ourselves we just lack her raw talent. We pretend we are not ruthlessly competent enough to survive. That is a comforting lie we swallow daily. But Miranda's excellence requires much more than genetic talent. Hers is built on a mountain of extreme sacrifices that most people would never willingly make. You physically do not possess the capacity to destroy your rival or betray a loyal friend. Your hesitation is not a fatal corporate weakness. Your hesitation is your surviving humanity. The human brain is not wired for perpetual corporate warfare. Miranda Priestly won the game by amputating her conscience. But you do not have to pay that catastrophic toll. You can demand absolute excellence and still retain your soul. You can build an empire and strictly enforce your boundaries. You do not lack the talent to reach the top. You simply refuse to become a monster to sit inside it, because the system will always ask for the invoice. And the only question left is, are you going to pay it?